about whether the president's defecating in public. Imagine where we're going to be by October. The White House press secretary used the phrase cheap fakes, the idea of cheap fakes. Let me explain what that is to people. We've been worried for years about AI deep fakes, that computer-generated images are going to trick people into believing something that's totally false. Cheap fakes are a little bit simpler. They're cheap. They're just distorted, out of context videos, chopped up in certain ways, constructed in certain ways. That's what we're seeing. That's what the Biden administration, the Biden campaign is so worried about right now. But make no mistake, they are worried about this. This is a real problem. This is not some made-up fiction. The videos are oftentimes made up, but the problem is real.
That's former CNN host and sentient Mr. Potato Head doll, Brian Stelter, pushing the Democrat narrative that right-wingers are now using the same exact tactics employed by establishment media for years. Welcome to Nerk News. I'm Nerkish, and after 4 years of dismissing concerns about Biden's mental health and downplaying commentary on his age, it looks like the political hacks on the left have a brand new, bold strategy, telling Americans not to trust their lying eyes.
There's a narrative that Joe Biden is an old man, of course, and I'm not disputing that he's not 81 years old, but
we are going to separate the fact from the fiction, because there are a lot of videos going around about President Biden on social media.
These videos, I mean, they're blatant lies.
They are lying to their audience.
Making up and distorting things about the current president.
Trying to get people to believe visuals that aren't real.
Deceptively edited videos known as cheap fakes.
A cheap fake, at least that's what the White House calls this viral video of President Biden.
The White House says there's a cheap fake problem.
Cheap fakes.
Cheap fakes, videos of real events that are intentionally manipulated.
We're hearing about so-called cheap fakes.
Cheap fakes.
Cheap fakes.
Cheap fakes.
Cheap fakes. Look at him. Look at Biden. It is not true. He was fine, but they are creating this narrative.
The technology is just going to get more and more efficient at making these videos look more and more real when they're really not.
Cheap fakes, which is coincidentally what I call TV news journalists, because they've proven time and time again just how little they're willing to sell their integrity and soul for. Here's CBS getting caught red-handed for creating a cheap fake to push their narrative about right-wingers using cheap fakes.
Cheap fake clips went viral on social media and were picked up by some news outlets. Take a look at this clip, for example. It shows Biden and other world leaders watching a skydiving demonstration before the president is seen walking away and looking in another direction. Outlets claimed that he was sort of just aimlessly wandering away. The clip amassed millions of views within just a few hours, when actually if you widen out, you can see that he was talking to one of the members of the military that was participating in that demonstration.
They had to delete that, by the way, because there was no difference in the footage they showed other than them putting text on one that said it was digitally altered. But if you want a clip that was drastically digitally altered, look no further than when CNN was attacking Joe Rogan over using ivermectin. And since we're on the topic of dishonesty on the left, here's a photo from a recent Obama-Biden rally pushed by the DNC. Looks like a big turnout. Now here's the actual footage from the event. Seems a little misleading, kind of like the recent post that the left's been circulating saying that Trump needed someone to hold his hand and guide him off stage at a recent rally, when in fact that wasn't the case at all. It was quickly debunked by right-wingers because there's footage of him walking away. Which brings us back once again to this all being liberal projection. Here's Greg Gutfeld breaking it down and giving a laundry list of all their hoaxes since Trump took office.
Remember the drinking bleach hoax where they claimed Trump endorsed drinking bleach to cure COVID? They practically were telling us he'd invented the Clorox martini. The same grifters who pushed the Fine People hoax, in which the media falsely claimed Trump endorsed Nazis, that was Biden's sole reason for running. Then there was the Koi Pond hoax, in which Trump dumping a box of fish food into a pond was supposed to be a diplomatic gaffe on par with your pants when meeting the Pope. That was fake. Remember the migrant kids in cages hoax? Of course, they left out that this program started under Obama. There was the Russian P-tape hoax. There's the Don't Say Gay bill hoax, which never said don't say gay. Then there was the Border Patrol whipping migrants hoax. Nobody was getting whipped. Those were reins to control horses. Covington kids. I can only hope their lawsuit payout means they can hire Don Lemon to wash their helicopters. Speaking of kids, remember who the media told us appeared at a football game in blackface? Turns out the kid was just sporting his team's colors. How about Russian collusion? Everyone from Adam Schiff to Rachel Maddow tried to convince us that Trump was a Russian asset. But as soon as that Russian asset left office, Putin attacked Ukraine again. Then there's COVID. We were told it came from bat soup in a wet market. Then, of course, there's the laptop when 51 intel officers told us Hunter's computer was Russian disinfo. They were lying and they knew it.
Exactly. This cheap fake narrative is nothing more than another Orwellian phrase pushed by the left to get you to say that 2 + 2 = 5. Fortunately for us, they're all overconfident morons who haven't caught on to the fact that they're no longer relevant. You know, legacy media doesn't have a stranglehold on news anymore, and whether they like it or not, their reign of misinformation is coming to an end. But let me know what you think. Do we really need additional context to explain why Biden is falling down and speaking incoherently? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!